This is a football podcast, man. Meat, football, good. Man, we talk football. We eat burgers.
Welcome back, one and all, to Scrambled Drill. I'm Josh Johnson. Over there's Mr. Ben Watts, my good buddy and good pal, my partner through, how long have we been doing this? Couple years?
Couple years now.
2 years?
Too long.
My Scrambled Drill partner. Week
8.
9.
8.
Where are we?
Pay
in the
attention, Josh.
season? Oh boy, week 8 has come and gone. This is the week 8 recap episode. Oh boy, fantasy football has been a fickle mistress this year. I don't know how you're feeling about your teams, but I have some conflicting emotions. It's kind of like, as the wise coach once said, it's like watching your mother-in-law drive off a cliff in a Cadillac. You got mixed feelings.
I love it. I had a great week this week. I know you have had mixed feelings, but this week was a return to dominance on my end. Won about 75% of the leagues. Even the rebuilding teams just came out and absolutely smacked whoever I was going up against. You were one of them, actually. Sorry about that.
Yep.
Yeah, so I need to remind the rebuilders to chill. It's calm down. We want the 101, but yeah, here we are. Log team is a machine. Obviously, things will come crashing down at some point, but it was steamrolling. Even the Mully team, who Mully's been decimated by injuries, but on National Tight End Day, Travis Kelce and Tucker Kraft put on a show for us. So we're feeling good.
My favorite thing about fantasy football is that I have the hardest core rebuild one can possibly do. I mean, when they say you should strip it down to the studs, that is what I have done. The problem is, I have these random leftovers that just keep scoring points. Like, K. Dotton was just like this random cast-off tight end that I have been playing in my lineup, and then 2 players get hurt. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans get hurt for the Buccaneers, and now K. Dotton is like the best tight end that you can have in fantasy football, and it's a 2-point tight end premium league, so he scored 38 points for me this week, which is half of the output of the guy that I've been chasing for the 101. That's half his entire team. That dude has scored 56 points.
I can tell you,
K-Dot hit half of that.
You are not going to catch him and pass him for 101. It's not going to happen.
There's zero chance.
You cannot do it. You the best case scenario for you in this league is the 102. This is how bad the guy's team is. It's not possible to get the 101 unless you trade for it from him.
It is.
You have to get his pick because you cannot get the 101.
It's incredible. I mean, I'm starting Trey Benson every week, who scores like about a point a week. I'm starting Rashad Bateman. Elijah Moore had 85 yards for no good reason. Josh Palmer had 70 yards for no good reason. I mean, I'm starting these are the dregs. And yet this rebuilding team keeps scoring just enough points that it's like frisky for the median every week. And it's so
you're
frustrating.
Ahead of me, actually, in max points for.
I am.
My team.
And you're trying to do, I don't know if you're trying to win
I don't
necessarily,
know what I'm trying
but
to
you're
do.
trying a heck of a lot harder than I am.
I'm kind of I'm in that bad spot where I'm in the middle. There's good players on the team, and there's no really contending pieces to sell. Like, it's very good because all the young studs are exactly that. They're young, so they're guys I have no reason to move, and I don't have a ton of depth on the bench. So I'm like, I guess I'm just rolling out these guys. You know, Marvin Harrison is gonna have his games. JSN, Xavier Worthy popping off. I mean, Kyle Pitts scoring 30. It just is what it is.
I'm honestly to the point now where, I mean, I need to trade. I've got guys on my taxi squad scoring points. Like, this is just, my max points for in that league, it's going to come out and it's going to be like 175, 180 points. And that's not what we want
to give me
on a rebuild.
Cade Otton for nothing.
Send me something halfway decent. I might just take it. I have been taking bad trades to get points out.
That's the 302.
Okay, that's not good enough.
I'll give you 2/3.
That's not what we want.
Anyways, exactly. I don't have anything else to give you.
There's not much. It's mixed feelings this week. We are recapping all the games though on this episode, and it was a pretty interesting
I enjoyed this week.
Sunday. It was a fun one.
Very good.
Before we get into all that, though, there were a couple injuries. I about missed the whole injury segment here. But Brian Thomas is going to miss a couple weeks, potentially with a chest rib, some sort of thing going on there, which I didn't see at all. It's awesome.
Just popped up today.
Just lovely. I don't know really what to read into that, but
Stuff.
good stuff. Apparently, Christian McCaffrey is on track to return after the bye for the 49ers,
They said he's going to run
which is going to
simulated practices. I don't know what that means.
It's going to be too little, too late. That's all that I'm getting out of that.
Yeah, your Mully team. I don't know what to tell you about that team. I'm trying to, and it's not good for you at all. I'm trying to thread a very thin needle this Monday night. I told you about
You're
this.
going to.
I'm trying to. Malik Neighbors just has to outscore the Steelers defense, and then you lose if that happens.
Fair enough.
And then I need George Pickens to have 13 points so that Alex can win in Mully as well. Because, I'm trying to get his first-round pick from him. So, hopefully, a win boosts him and thinks like, yeah, I should probably take that trade. Give me his pick because I've been decimated with injuries, so I'm like, I don't think I can win. So, he wins, accepts the trade, and you take sole possession of last place in Mully. I'm very sorry, but that's what I need to happen.
It could happen. If Jordan Mason hadn't gotten injured, we would not be having this conversation.
Can we
but
stop
here we
a second and say Jordan Mason, he is a Las Vegas plant. He is a plant by the Vegas sports betting makers. They want you to bet on the over because he's going up against Dallas and then have a injury, and then they get all the money that you bet.
I mean, this is now 2 weeks where this same injury has popped up and just ruined a week for me. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. That's the sucky part. It's like, I mean, what are you going to do? He's healthy going into Sunday. I mean, healthy with air quotes. And then you aggravate a shoulder. Like, what? I mean, what are you going to do? It's just disgusting. Injury luck has been abysmal in that league. And points are not, this is not the sort of league where people score 150 points every single week. Like, if you score 115 to 125 points every week, that's pretty good. Like, you'll win. Yeah, you'll be pretty decent. I will now have lost 4 times scoring 120 plus, which I don't know. That feels like a lot to me. It just feels like the luck for that team this year has been terrible.
And you should have started Puka, man. That would have helped.
Should have. Would have helped a little bit. Probably should have started Terry McLaurin. Started Tank Bigsby when ETN was marked out. It's just...
I mean, you still got a shot if, the Steelers defense has a good week or Malik Neighbors just gets locked out by him. That could happen. But 2-5 it's going to be hard to claw your way out of that one.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. What else here do we have in the injuries? Oh, Jordan Love. He has a strained groin, which is apparently not serious.
It is painful, though.
I'm sure it is. T. Higgins missed Sunday. Does he have any sort of lingering thing going on? Do we know?
No, it's not a hamstring thing. It's a quad thing, they said. I don't know. I was very annoyed. Actually, I wasn't annoyed for the reason of I was debating whether or not who to start him in log, if he like him or Jonathan Taylor, and he made the decision for me, so that helped.
That is nice. And Jonathan Taylor was good, so you don't feel bad about it at all.
Nope. It was great.
Last thing here, Christian Kirk going to miss the year with a fill-in-the-blank injury.
Shall we take a moment of silence for your my guy?
We need to play some sad music for the season that wasn't. Golly, man. I mean, it was all right there.
It's Trevor Lawrence's fault. We can blame
So
Trevor
there
Lawrence.
are times, I don't know how you feel. I mean, I know you don't like Trevor Lawrence,
No.
but there's times watching him play football when, and I said this out loud yesterday, I was like, Trevor Lawrence is objectively horrible at football. But then you look, and at the end of the game, he's like 25 of 35, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. And you're like, well, that's not bad. But you watch him play, and you're like, he sucks.
It's a little bit of
absolutely
Dak
awful.
Prescott problem. Like, you look at Dak Prescott's end-of-game stats, we're like, oh, he had 270 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. That's not bad. And you realize, like, it all came in garbage time. I'm like, okay, well, what were his stats when they were down 30-13? And like, oh, that's terrible, you know.
He is frustrating. The Jaguars are frustrating. Yuck. I don't even need to get started. If they ruin Brian Thomas, I will have words.
Brian Thomas has been Jaguar.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Thus far.
He has. And I'm not sure if he can stay Jaguar-proof all year long.
2 to 4 weeks, we'll find out.
We'll find out. You want to hop into these games?
Let's do it. I'm excited.
Thursday night, Vikings and the Rams had an absolute gem of a Thursday night game.
Till the very
It
end.
was a beauty. Well, yeah, that face mask that was something else.
I don't even know if the Vikings would have won the game, but that's just ridiculous. I'm sorry. That's ridiculous.
It's like the stuff with college reffing. I mean, I feel like reffing in general has, I don't know, maybe I'm not paying attention
the ref
super well,
said,
but I
like,
feel like refs are terrible.
I didn't have a good view of it. I'm like, brother, it happened 3 feet from you. Like, what do you mean you didn't have a good view of it?
My favorite thing ever is when refs miss a incredibly critical call to a game, and then afterwards the league comes out and is like, yeah, they missed that call. It's like, oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
That would have been great.
So glad you're looking out for me there.
Like, why can't we have some kind of replay or review where they're like, they phone down, like, call it. Like, it happened. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I don't know why we don't have rules in place that make it where you get the call right no matter what. Like, I hate when you obviously miss a call on the field, but you can't do anything about it once the play's,
Yeah.
once they make the call. There's a lot of calls that you can't go back and change anything about the call, which is dumb. Like, why can't we just get it right?
Yeah, it's so frustrating. Anyway, not fantasy related, but
Anyways, Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp returned for the Rams.
those limited snaps.
And they were both, but they both delivered somewhat. Puka Nacua looked incredible in his return. He had 7 for 100. Cooper Kupp, I think, was like, he honestly was salvaged by the fact that he scored. I don't really know how you feel about these two moving forward, but I think it's pretty well set in stone that Puka Nacua is just a locked-in top 10 guy, and Cooper Kupp, like, he's
he's
probably
still top 15 for me.
in that. Yeah, but I think I don't want to overreact, but I feel like Cooper Kupp is no longer as integral to the offense. Maybe it's a really dumb thing to say. He's not as integral as he has been, but I feel like Puka is the engine of the offense. Cooper Kupp is kind of a nice piece that helps the offense out, if that makes any sense.
I mean, it's. I'm not saying this to take away from Cooper Kupp. Yes, he's the alpha, but I think, or from Puka, but I think you're underselling Cooper Kupp some. I mean, Puka had 1 more target than he had. Puka had 9, Kupp had 8. Puka just had more yards than Kupp did. Kupp had the touchdown. I mean, Puka's a top 10 guy for me, and Kupp is still probably top 15. I trust him. I trust them both.
Maybe I am reading into it a bunch, but I think Cooper Kupp had like 4 targets with like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And then he was that last drive, he had like 3 targets, 2 catches, and that ended up salvaging it. You end up with 5 for 51.
I don't know. Let me put it this way. I ain't benching Kupp anywhere I've got him. That's not happening.
The problem is I'm going to have to figure out is it Kupp or someone else next week in the Granddaddy Mall, and I don't really know how it's going to shake out, to be honest with you.
Kyron is unbelievable, I'll say that.
Kyron's unbelievable. Like, what is it? He scored a touchdown in 11 straight games. Like is that where we are with him?
Yeah. He gets passing work. He's like the only running back that ever touches the ball. He's a top 3 fantasy running back. I mean,
He is ridiculous. Anything on the Vikings side of this? Darnold was good, but I don't think outside of Jefferson, which we all know about, I don't think there was a ton to take away from this one.
Jefferson's the best receiver in football.
So dominant in the target share of the offense. I mean, they throw 25 passes. He has 9 targets. I mean, what did he have, like 50 yards after the first quarter or something like that?
I think he had 50 yards. Like it was ridiculous. Like he had 5 catches for like 60 or something yards. It was unbelievable. Justin Jefferson's awesome. Don't need to spend time there. Aaron Jones had a rough game. Not very efficient, but I'm not worried about him either. I'll say this. I'm excited for TJ Hawkinson to come back into the offense. I think with what I'm seeing from like Josh Oliver and guys like that getting involved, TJ Hawkinson's gonna be a beast once he gets his feet under him.
Eagles, Bengals.
Sucky game.
Your boys up north got smashed by the Eagles. Apparently that offense awoke.
Yeah, duh.
We
went back to the DeAndre Swift days where Saquon, you can get us down to the goal line, and then we're going to give it to Jalen.
That was
I don't want to hear any complaints. This is what's happening.
A.J. Brown has a good game, doesn't score. Saquon Barkley has a good game, doesn't score. And at the end of it, you're like, I mean, they were good, but it did not come through for fantasy, and it's because Jalen Hurts had 3 tush-push touchdowns, and it's just gross. Nobody needs that from
He was
Jalen
very
Hurts.
efficient, which he usually is not. 16 for 20, 230, and a touchdown. Devonta Smith looked great. He actually had more targets than A.J. Brown. He had 7 to A.J.'s 6. Both had 85 yards. Just Smith got the touchdown. Yeah, I mean, I still have Saquon as my RB1. Rest of the season. Kyron's probably pretty close to him at 2, but I mean, these kind of games can happen in the Eagles' offense. It just is what it is.
Yeah. For the Bengals, it's a T. Higgins-less game on Sunday. Jamar Chase is fine. It's only 50 yards, though, which
he was getting a lot of
would
short
expect
work,
a bit more.
I mean, I'll take 11 targets any way you can slice it. Like I don't care who the player is. I'll take 11 targets. It doesn't matter. I think the main fantasy takeaways for this is, number 1, Mike Gesicki is wildly T. Higgins dependent. If T. Higgins doesn't play, you start Mike Gesicki. If he does play, obviously you don't play him. And then Chase Brown does not have an amazing game, but is clearly the RB1 in Cincy.
Yep. Ravens-Browns. It is the Jameis Winston experience now.
Love it.
For Browns fans. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. Everybody is good when Jameis Winston plays because he's just the fantasy football kingmaker, I guess. Njoku's good.
But he didn't throw picks.
Jerry Jeudy's good.
If you told me Jameis Winston throws 3 touchdowns, I say he throws 4 picks. Nope. No picks.
Nope. No bad decisions from Mr. Jameis Winston. 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's a wonderful thing to see. Cedric Tillman was great.
Elijah Moore was great.
Are you throwing out any claim? Because I feel like Tillman, Moore, and Jerry Jeudy might be on waivers, all three of them. Is there any need to go grab those guys off of waivers right now?
Because Jameis Winston, he's going to throw the ball. He's going to sling it. Cedric Tillman is... That boy's good.
He's not bad. I remember when he came out from Tennessee, they were like, yeah, he profiles as kind of that classic X receiver, the outside guy. He's got a little something there.
Yeah. I like all of the receiving options with Jameis Winston out. I like Tillman, I like Jeudy, I like Moore. Not as like elite starters by any means, but like you can flex them with Jameis Winston in there. David Njoku's a tight end 1. You can start him. You can basically start everybody now. Deshaun Watson is literally what was holding him back. Literally.
Yeah. Oh gosh. He was playing so conservative, and therefore the offense stunk. Yeah. It was a close game. It was a game the Browns won, which means that the Ravens' passing attack did show up. It meant Lamar Jackson had 290 yards passing, but it also meant that, as is the case in every close game the Ravens played this year, Zay Flowers was awesome. He had 100 yards.
12 targets.
It is... I mean, we were out on him at the beginning of the year, and there's a two-face thing going on here where if they're in close games, he's very good. If they blow somebody out, he does literally nothing. So you kind of just are basing it on the game script. Yeah. But in the games that are close, he is like almost a sure bet for 100 yards at this point.
Derrick Henry saves it with a touchdown, but I mean, in a shootout, that's kind of what you expect from him too.
Yeah. Mark Andrews got in the end zone again.
Finally. Are we starting Mark Andrews again?
Finally.
Can we?
I think you can start him. We've now got, 3 or 4 straight weeks of him at least being startable.
Yeah, ever since those back-to-back goose eggs, he's kind of found his groove a little bit, I think, / pray.
Yeah. I mean, the issue, we know Zay Flowers is, I guess, now the target number 1 in the offense. The other issue is going to be Isaiah Likely, because he always seems to have pretty much the same stat line that Mark Andrews does. It's always like a 4 for 40, and then you're just hoping that Andrews scores, which he has done for like 3 straight weeks.
I don't know. I think we can start him now.
You can start him. You don't feel great about it, but you can start him.
I don't love him still, but he's got a long way to go to earn my trust back. I'll say that.
Yeah. The Lions absolutely shellacked the Titans 52-14, and they did it while not throwing the ball.
This was an absolute whipping we just saw. Like Jared Goff, it's another week where he has as many touchdowns as incompletions. It is unbelievable the efficiency he has. I mean, nobody had... And look at this. Okay, you see the Lions score 52 points. You see Amon-Ra St. Brown has a touchdown. How many fantasy points do you think he has?
Yeah, like 7.
The Lions score 52 points, and Amon-Ra St. Brown has 2 targets for 7 yards and a touchdown. That's wild. That is insane.
What if I would have told you before the game Sunday that Sam Laporta would have 50% of the Lions' passing yards?
I wouldn't have believed you, because at 50%, I'm like, Sam Laporta's not having 150 yards.
No. And yet he has 48 and a touchdown. Is a great week if you started Sam Laporta. I mean, Jared Goff came through for fantasy. That's the crazy thing. Touchdowns. He had 85 yards. Yeah, 85 yards passing, but 3 touchdowns, therefore comes through for fantasy.
It's almost like an opposite effect. There's like, you want guys in good offenses. I'm like, the offense is so good that unless you're starting David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, it's almost kind of scary.
Well, they did have, let's see here, was there 2 special teams touchdowns? There was a punt return touchdown. There was a 72-yard kick return,
Dude,
so that's a short
they had
field.
like a ton of return yards in this game. It was ridiculous.
Yes.
Every kick they took back 50 yards.
It was ridiculous. Khalif Raymond had 190 yards in punt return yardage. That's insane. They also had a 33-yard interception return. They pretty much had 2 drives that started at the opposing 15-yard line, and they also had a special teams touchdown.
Unbelievable. This is... I mean, I understand, and maybe I'm crazy to say it. Do we think the Lions are the best team in football?
They might be.
I know the Chiefs are undefeated.
If
I know the
they-
Chiefs are undefeated. I would still probably put them at 2. But like the Lions can do it on both sides of the football. Their offense is not anemic. Their offense is unbelievable.
I do think they probably need a pass rusher.
Go get Myles Garrett.
But if they make any sort of trade for a competent pass rusher, I would be terrified of the Lions in the playoffs.
That team is so much fun, man. I love the Lions just because they are so much fun to watch.
They are really fun. On the flip side, the only thing we're talking about for the Titans is Calvin Ridley had 15 targets. They get rid of DeAndre Hopkins, and instantly Calvin Ridley's awesome.
Dude,
10 for 143.
Calvin really wasn't even on my wave or on my radar this week, and he had like 100 yards in the first half.
It was crazy. He hadn't. I mean, he's been giving you like 3 for 20 every single week, and then all of a sudden he just blows
Dude,
up.
Do you remember like a couple weeks ago he was complaining, and they were like, "Well, you ended up with 9 targets or something like that," and he was like, "How many of those did I get in the first half?" And they were like, 1. He's like, "Exactly. Get me the ball earlier in the game," and he didn't let you down either. He's like, "All right, get me the ball earlier in the game." 100 yards. Problem is the rest of the team is
Amazing.
trash.
They are garbage. They are not a good team. And the Lions are great. The Lions have a knockout punch, unlike what most of the league has. So
And
it was rough.
Gibbs hitting 22 miles an hour on his run. Did you see that?
Ooh-wee.
That is blazing
Oh, yeah. Oh, I
fast.
saw it. Hoo-wee. How about the Cardinals and
I-
the Dolphins? Cardinals pulled this
Fun
one out.
game, dude. I like this game too.
This was a fun one. Kyler Murray comes through. How about these weapons, though? For the Cardinals, Trey McBride, 9 for 124. Marvin Harrison, 6 for 111 and a touchdown.
Kyler finally threw for over 300 yards. If their passing game can
took
get
him-
going, like we know Kyler can do it. And if Kyler's going to get it going, like McBride and Harrison are going to absolutely eat.
Because you know it's going to be funneled through those two. It's them and nobody else.
I would not have said, I would have believed you're crazy at the beginning of the season. But legitimately, is Trey McBride the number 1 option on this team? Like, is he the first?
Yes.
He's the first read over Harrison.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Trey McBride is a 130 target kind of player. And Marvin Harrison, I mean, he's a rookie, so things could change as the season goes on. But we're now looking, I mean, I don't want to overreact to his early season stuff, but like he's not been worth the draft price if you look at the season in totality.
I mean,
Sunday
to
you
toot our
finally
own
though
horn
get
a little bit.
glimpse.
We did say this preseason, like early second round draft capital. It feels really hot in redraft for that to be where he's going.
Yeah. But it worked Sunday.
It did.
Kyler targeted him Sunday, and you know, like if he does get involved, he's probably going to score. That's sort of how it's looked so far in weeks that the offense is moving, is humming a bit, and Marvin Harrison happens to be involved. He scores. So that's
Imagine
nice
if Trey
to see.
McBride starts scoring touchdowns.
Oh, dear
He's
Lord.
going to tear. He's going to be the he'll
Oh,
be
dear
the
Lord.
fantasy MVP if he starts scoring touchdowns.
Oh my gosh, he really will. How about the Dolphins? Tua comes back and everything returns to how it should be, except Raheem Mostert had the 2 goal line touchdowns, which is not how things should be.
It's mildly
But-
concerning for Devon A-Chain, but I mean, I'm not going to sit here and complain. You got a running back who has 97 yards and a receiving touchdown either.
And he had 8 targets.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of knew this. Like, the whole offense is going to wake up as soon as Tua comes back. He is the engine that makes that offense go.
It is crazy how none of these options were startable. I mean, we're getting questions like, can you even start Tyreek Hill? Because the offense was so bad. And then Tua comes back, and Tyreek Hill didn't have an amazing game, but he had 72 yards. Jalen Waddle comes back, admittedly, wasn't amazing, 45 yards. But Devon Achane is like the RB2 on the week. Raheem Mostert scores twice. Tua has 234 and a touchdown in the air. They lose, but they score 27 points, and you're like, oh, okay, this is the Dolphins offense that we all know and love.
Yeah. No, you fire up every Dolphin when Tua's healthy.
It is a beautiful thing, finally getting Devon Achane coming back to life.
You were very pleased.
I was so happy. Speaking of happy, the New England Patriots won with the power of friendship.
I was pulling for them to win, honestly. I'm like, at this point, screw the Jets. I mean, I don't like them.
The Jets are getting killed in sports media today, and I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong here, the stat was something along the lines of they had no turnovers, they held their opponent to less than 250 yards, and they had, was it over 350 yards themselves and lost?
Yes, I believe that is true.
That was the first time in, I think, 750-something instances of that set of three stats happening that they lost.
Aaron, it's your fault at this point, man. It's your fault. Garrett Wilson.
I didn't watch this game very closely.
I didn't. I mean, I was on Red Zone, so whenever it flashed apart, it did. But, I mean, Garrett Wilson, from what I heard, looked really good. He's actually, I mean, I think Devontae Adams being there has kind of helped him. He's out-targeted Devontae, and he's had 100 yards both games that Devontae's been there. So, you know, that coverage being pulled off him has been a big deal for him. Mildly concerning, Braylon Allen, 12. We kind of had a 60-40 split.
Did have the touchdown.
We had a 60-40 split, which was weird.
Yeah, I mean, Brees averages 5 a carry, just doesn't score. Doesn't get anything in the passing game either. That was mildly concerning because, you know, last week he has like 150 yards receiving. Yeah, it is weird. I feel like every week we react to a Jets game and we're like, this thing is odd and unexplainable, and I don't know why this is happening. And it's something different every week. It was they weren't running the ball. This week they ran the ball, and it still wasn't. I don't know, man. I don't know what it is. There's something unexplainable about this team they're just not good. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. That's really all it is. I don't know what to tell you. I don't trust the offense. Robert Saleh wasn't the problem. It's just a bad team. How many more excuses can you make before you say the 2-6 team that keeps losing in bad ways is just a bad team?
Yeah, they are what the record says they are at this point in the season. The Falcons knocked off the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a thrilling 31-26 game.
They got me stressed late in the game. Like, we did not need to let Baker have that much time late to try to win it.
And he almost did.
With no weapons. We've already talked about Cade Otton giving you fits gracious. Because you're trying to rebuild with him on the team.
Goodness gracious, I know it. But it's not just Cade Otton. This is like a three-headed monster with the running backs. Bucky Irving has 44 yards rushing, also has 40 yards receiving. Rachaad White has, of course, 29 yards rushing, but also 38 yards and a touchdown receiving.
It's like a 1A, 1B where Irving is the 1A.
A little bit. At least I think he is the 1A, like when they're going to run the ball, but he's still involved in the pass game. Like, I think Bucky Irving and Rachaad White are two versions of the same prototype for them in that offense.
Yeah. Whatever it is, it works. I'll say that. It works.
Yeah. Yeah, the numbers still look good. They scored 26 points without their top two receiving weapons. Very nice to see from the Buccaneers. I was hoping they wouldn't just like fall flat on their faces, and they did not. So that was nice. Your Falcons, though, got the win. Kirk Cousins had 4 touchdowns. Kyle Pitts, I'll give you a moment. Hop on your soapbox. Give us a Kyle Pitts rant of epic
here's
proportions.
Here's a Kyle Pitts rant. And at a certain point in the season, I wasn't expecting to be able to say this. You can start Kyle Pitts. That's the rant. You can start him. It took.
You're stopping short at true excitement. It's just, you can start him.
We got there. That's all I can say is we have been patient. We have trusted the process. And you can start Kyle Pitts. He is the tight end 4 on the season. The tight end 4.
That seems crazy.
But it's true. We're there.
But this has also always been in the cards with Pitts, is 90 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
We've always known he could do
needed
this.
A quarterback who can do that. And he finally has one.
Bijan Robinson has 63 yards rushing, 100 total yards and the touchdown, so he ends up just fine for you for fantasy.
He gives you that safe floor of like he's going to catch 6 targets, six catches a game for 40 yards.
That's pretty much what he gave you, and what he's been giving
and then
you.
You get the rushing just on top of that. So Bijan has earned my trust back as well. He has earned my trust.
Packers beat the Jags. Jordan Love was injured, and Malik Willis got it done for
QB controversy.
Well, yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
Dude, Malik Willis has looked good every time he's touched the field.
The Titans got rid of him, and then immediately they have to just be kicking themselves. They're like, why did we let that dude get out of the building? Because he's good.
Maybe Green Bay's system is just really solid.
I'm sure that has quite a lot to do with it.
Josh Jacobs.
Because the system is solid. Yeah, Josh Jacobs, 2 touchdowns, 127 yards. I mean, not a ton here.
I don't know what else to say
for receivers.
Yeah, I mean, Tucker Kraft on tight end day. Awesome. Another Jaden Reed game where Jaden Reed was doing nothing, and then he saved it late with a 51-yard catch.
Still wasn't great, but yeah, salvaged it a little bit with that 50-yarder.
It's going to be so hard to predict the Packers receivers. There's too many of them. There's literally too many.
For the Jags, Brian Thomas pretty much saved a no-show with the touchdown. He ended up at 3 for 60. Christian Kirk now done for the year. Brenton Strange was really good. I
can only assume
apparently
his workload's going to go up now.
Yep. I would imagine they'll have to bring him in. Maybe keep an eye on Parker Washington as well. I remember last year they were dealing with some wide receiver injuries, and he was fairly involved. But they were without, oh my gosh, Gabe Davis.
Yeah. I forget he's there, honestly.
He's easy to forget. He's very forgettable.
Forget they got old Gabe.
Tank Bigsby could have had a really good game. He was stuffed on the 1-yard line. So, amazing.
His fault for just being trash.
It's like I told you before the game. If it's a close game, Tank Bigsby will probably be good. And it was a close game. He had 78 yards rushing, and he had a goal line carry, and you just didn't score, and it wasn't what it could have been. It's frustrating.
Oh, well.
The what ifs. How about the Texans and the Colts?
This one off.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about this. I don't. Let's just do it. Anthony Richardson. He's 10 of 32, 175 yards, of course. Touchdown.
On the
pick.
plus side, Anthony Richardson always averages like 20 yards of completion.
Oh, yeah.
The problem is there's not that many completions.
The yards per attempt don't look amazing. The yards per attempt, honestly, are like slightly below league average, but the yards per completion are insane.
But when you only complete 10 passes, I believe
not
you
great.
said before we recorded he's only completed more than 10 passes once this season.
Yeah, that was in week 2. He completed 17 passes. He's completed 10 passes 3 times, but has only gone over 10 once,
That's bad.
which is not good.
Dude, I was listening to the Pat McAfee show before we hit record, and they were absolutely flaming Anthony Richardson when he pulled himself for being tired. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
never seen that in my life.
I thought he was injured because on that play, it looked like his leg might have gotten tweaked a little bit, but then he said in the press conference that he was tired.
Dude,
If I were him, I'd have just been like, I tweaked my knee. I needed to go have a break. I tweaked my knee.
That was the wrong thing to say. You can't say that. You cannot.
You can't
say
out
that.
yourself.
Like, I'm not
You cannot
I'm
out
not trying to
yourself.
encourage lying, but lie.
Yeah.
You,
Dude, in sports, in situations like this, you got to play the political game a little bit. I mean, you know how, like, at your job, sometimes you just have to play the politics just a little bit.
or yeah, just
you know?
shut your mouth sometimes. Like, just don't say anything.
Yeah.
You don't have to address it. It's fine.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Yeah, so
I've
not
never
only is he not completing passes, but he's also hurting his job security by just being bold and honest about him not playing.
I've never seen a quarterback take themselves out of the game for that reason. Like, if it was an injury, that's one thing. But, like, yeah, I mean, I don't. Go listen to the Pat McAfee show. That's all I can tell you. Like, I've never seen that in my life.
No. For the Texans, we did not talk about this in the injury section, but Stephon Diggs is getting an MRI. It looked to me, it was non-contact.
Concerning.
It looked to me like it's one of those clips where you're like, oh, that could be the year right there.
I will say he walked afterwards. He walked to the locker
That
room.
never means anything.
That doesn't necessarily mean anything, but I'm looking for some optimism.
Yeah, you'll take what you can get at this point. Nico Collins comes back in, 2 weeks?
Something like that.
So there's help on the way there. But Joe Mixon was incredible. 100 yards yet again and a touchdown yet again. He's got everything in this backfield, which is
I'll
good
say
to
on
see.
that same line we didn't mention Jonathan Taylor on the Colts, but he's same conversation with him. Every carry, 100 yards, touchdown is what it is. Both beasts.
It's a beautiful thing to see. How about the Saints and the Chargers?
Let's talk about it.
Our guy Justin Herbert finally came through with a Justin Herbert special.
Jay Herbo game. Vintage.
280 yards, 2 touchdowns. Also ripped off 49 yards rushing. This
we did say he
what
can
we
do
want
that.
to see every week.
He can do that if he would just do it.
If he would, yeah. There was that one play. Nobody's open. Goes for a 39-yard rip.
You can be Josh Allen.
And then he could. If he had just a little bit of crazy in him, he could be Josh Allen.
You got to just knock a few brain cells out of there, and you're golden, dude.
If he gets hit by that, whoever that D lineman was that was gator rolling him, if he gets hit by him a few more times, he might get a little bit of that Josh Allen gene.
Offensive lineman try to kill that guy after the play.
I loved it.
I did too. I'm like,
absolutely
that's
loved
a dirty play. Get off my quarterback. I'm going to murder you on this field.
Maul that man. Yes, please, and thank you.
Also, how about Ladd McConkey turning into prime Julian Edelman?
Oh my goodness.
That's
111 and 2?
absolute monster.
That's a beautiful
Absolute
thing.
monster.
On the flip side, Spencer Rattler played most of this game. Did he get injured? Is that what happened? Did he get
I think
pulled
he
or
got
did he get
pulled.
injured? Okay.
Which is crazy. Like, Spencer Rattler goes 12 of 24 for $150, and they pull him, but they don't pull Anthony Richardson.
Well, I mean, there's a slight difference in team investment there.
It is, but the performance on the field, it's no noticeable difference to me.
It did turn into 14 targets and 8 for 107 for Chris Olave.
You do like to see that.
You love it when your star players get targeted. Really, I think what needed to happen was the Rashid Shaheed injury because he was making the Chris Olave experience so annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that was part of the problem for sure. Olave's obviously been banged up a little bit too. And in Kamara.
He got banged up again in this one.
And in Kamara.
I mean, he got destroyed. The hit he took was
he got popped.
Diabolical.
We'll say that. He got popped.
It was rough. Alvin Kamara, yeah, he comes through as well. 11 targets for a running back. That's
we're
filthy.
watching vintage Alvin Kamara. I feel like I'm in 2018 still. Like that's him. I know that guy.
Yeah. That's beautiful stuff. Buffalo just sent my Seahawks packing silently into the night. 31-10. Oh my.
Did you not even know the final score, Josh?
No, I knew. It was bad. It was terrible. Like, we didn't even get off the bus.
And Josh Allen finally threw his first interception of the year. It had to happen. It had to happen at some point. Like, that's not Josh Allen if he's not throwing at least some interceptions.
He had to get that first one out of his system. I wonder how many attempts he had before he threw that first pick. That would be interesting to see.
I know they were saying he set like the Buffalo record for most games without interception, most completions without an interception, most attempts, all that stuff. Like he shattered those records.
It was beautiful. It turned into 10 targets for Khalil Shakir and 100 yards. It turned into 70 yards and a touchdown for Keon Coleman. We talked about Keon Coleman last week, that we're seeing the progression happen for him, and maybe Amari Cooper will figure things out and get more integrated. But Keon Coleman, man, there's absolutely something there, which I think is really cool to see.
Kincaid, 7 targets. You'll take it.
Finally scored.
Give me something, man. That's all I need. Just give me something.
Problem is Dawson Knox had 2 for 50. We need we wish no injuries upon anyone.
Don't do it, Josh.
But I need a Dawson Knox injury like I need water.
That's not nice. It's not nice.
It's not, but he does just enough.
Yeah. I don't wish that because I don't have shares of either of them. I just want Josh Allen to do great. So I need all their receivers to stay healthy.
How about James Cook with 17 for 111 and 2 tutties?
Beast.
I mean, this was just a mauling. This was
not close on any means.
No.
Y'all got beaten every phase of the game.
It was 31-10, and I'm pretty sure we scored a garbage time touchdown to make it less bad.
Yeah, it was 31-10, and it's not even as close as the score indicates, and you got beat by 21.
It was real bad. Real bad. There's nothing I think you can take away from the Seahawks side of this.
Geno's your leading rusher. Zach Charbonnet had a rushing touchdown over Kenneth Walker.
You ball that one up and throw it away.
Kenneth Walker might be losing his job. All I'm saying.
We got just monkey stomped in the first half, and they're like, let's maybe preserve our best player right now. That didn't help because I think too, I don't know, this is not the game you want to read anything into it, but JSN was like the most targeted guy, and it was still not good. I don't know if we need to have any conversations about JSN.
I mean, I don't think conversations need to be had. I mean, he had a decent game, 6 catches, 69 yards. You'll take that in PPR leagues. That's like 13 points in your flex spot. You'll take that and be happy with it.
Yeah. How about the Broncos and the Panthers? Poor old
It was a better
Panthers.
game than I thought it would be. I legitimately wasn't going to watch this one whatsoever because I thought it might be 30-0.
Yeah. And it was not. Bryce Young did have a pulse. It was 224 yards, 2 touchdowns, but also 2 picks.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't good. Don't hear what I'm not saying. It wasn't good. But he also did not have Deontay Johnson or Adam Thielen.
This is true.
Which is something.
Xavier Legette, 7 targets. Miles Sanders with 7 targets. That doesn't make sense.
That does just piss you off, doesn't it?
Why?
That's disgusting. Jalen Coker's your leading receiver there for the Panthers, which is gross. Gross. How about Bo Nix, 284 and 3?
Looked great.
He looked incredible.
I think Bo Nix is a top 10 fantasy quarterback right now.
That sounds crazy.
I'm not predicting that for the rest of the season. I'm like saying right now I think he's the top 10 fantasy quarterback.
That is wild.
He's the QB 9 on the year.
Wow. I never would have thought that that's...
Sounds crazy, but it is.
Ooh, yeah, wow.
It is true.
I thought Javonte Williams was going to be the smashest start of all smash starts, and then
I told you to start him.
Yeah, then he had 44 yards, no touchdowns,
Wildly inefficient.
4 catches for 8 yards. Like, it's just yuck, gross. I thought we'd turned a corner with him, and then he had 2.6 yards.
He could be one of the reasons you could potentially lose Mully tonight.
Yep, him and Jordan Mason together. That's the reasons.
Yep. Doesn't feel good.
No, it doesn't feel good at all, one bit. Chiefs Raiders.
The awakening.
Patrick Mahomes did throw 2 touchdowns. Finally, we had a multi-touchdown game from him. Also threw a pick because he can't help himself.
He will not get his touchdowns over his interceptions this year. He can't do it.
He will not. But Travis Kelce has 10 for 90, and he scored.
He awakens.
Holy moly. I don't know how many of these performances you're expecting for the rest of the year from Kelce, but this might have been his best fantasy week right there.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a sell high moment for sure. I still got Kelce as a top 3 tight end rest of the season for me. I mean, it's him, Bowers, and Kincaid. Or him, Bowers, and McBride, sorry. And, I mean, you got to put Kittle there, too. I don't know. It's 4 tight ends. 4 tight ends.
Golly, we'll get to Kittle here in a minute. Gee whiz, he's terrifying.
But, yeah, I mean, I'd still... that's a tier 1 is those 4 guys. So, literally, whichever one you want is fine. I'm not scared off of starting Travis Kelce, I'll say that. But I agree this could be his best game of the year.
I just want to call your attention to Alexander Mattison having 14 carries for 15 yards.
That's pretty good.
That's real quality
really
stuff.
Good.
His longest carry was for 5 yards. I want to know if you have the self-confidence. I feel like we do this bit every once in a while. Could you get 15 yards on 14 carries in an NFL game?
No. Am I?
I don't know if
am
I could
I
either.
quarterback? Am I like sneaking it every time? If I'm quarterback sneaking it every time, I could, but that's only because the offensive line is doing all the work.
Ben, I hate to break it to you, but I think if you quarterback sneaked 14 times in an NFL game, you'd be paralyzed by like the fourth carry.
Probably.
They'd be taking you out on a stretcher.
Get this man some help.
Oh, jeez. Disgusting. I have no other words for any Raiders.
I can say
That was
this:
gross.
I wouldn't pull myself out because I was tired. You'd have to pull my broken body out of the game, but I'm not taking myself out.
Which they would. You would be taken out on a stretcher
I would be
on crutches,
but
or
it wouldn't
something.
be because I took myself out. I'm not tapping out.
Your mental fortitude is tougher than that. Oh, jeez. Commanders, Bears. I
was hoping for
Washington
more excitement until the excitement happened.
Goodness, man. They went on a Hail Mary to Noah Brown. I mean, oh my gosh. This was crazy. Red Zone turned off the game because they're not allowed to broadcast the last game standing. And so I didn't even see the Hail Mary in real time.
I didn't either. I was keeping track on my phone, and I saw that Caleb Williams and the guys scored late. I'm like, oh, well, that's pretty cool. They scored that last second, and I stopped paying attention. And then I'm looking on TV, and I'm on SportsCenter, and they have all this stuff going on. I'm like, what happened? Jaden Daniels happened.
Yikes. Yeah, crazy. I I was very impressed with Terry McLaurin once again. Maybe it's because I've got him in the granddaddy of them all. Didn't start him, of course, but he's 5 for 125. I'm so happy for him that he's finally got a quarterback.
Yeah. Dude, I think I sent this to you. It was like a picture. You remember you seen the movie Concussion with Will Smith? I saw like when he's walking out and he's like clapping his hands together and he's crying or whatever. They were showing that clip and it's like Commanders when they realize they have the best quarterback in the division. Because they really do. They really do. He's the best quarterback in the division.
He's fantastic. I know the Hail Mary really skews stats there, but he does end up at 326 and the touchdown. Was not running as much as he normally does, but he still had 8 for 52 on the ground.
He was hurt going into this too. There was questions as to whether if he would play at all.
Yeah, and he came through. Beautiful, beautiful thing. Caleb Williams, on the other hand, looked awful.
Yeah. We got to get Shane. Shane Waldron's got to get out of there, man. He's got to go.
He's not it, man. He's not it at all. I've been saying it all year, but he's not
I
it.
will say rest of the season. We talked about last episode the bunch of guys who could be top 12 running backs. DeAndre Swift is actually
DeAndre Swift.
He is a top 12 running back rest of the season for me.
Yeah. He's locked in. I think we've seen he had those first couple weeks where it was rough, and then I don't know if he flipped a switch or if they have just figured out how they're going to use him in the run game better.
He's good.
He's quite good. He is quite good. It's always fun because once he got cast off from the Lions, like anytime a running back gets sent away from the team that drafted him, it's like, oh, this is not going to end well. I mean, the career trajectory just goes downhill from there, and he has found a place.
I'm proud of myself for like planting my flag. Though I'm like, I don't care. I kind of went against the grain. I'm like, I don't care what they're saying. I know that guy is good. Like, if you watch any kind of tape on him, that dude is incredible. Why does he not get the ball more? And the past 2 seasons, like, they're like, yeah, this guy needs the ball. The Eagles give him the ball, and the Bears give him the ball.
On Sunday Night Football, the 49ers monkey stomped the Cowboys. I guess monkey stomp might be a little bit strong of a word. They beat them.
Well, it was a blowout until garbage time.
That is true, because it's not a Cowboys game unless you have at least 2 touchdowns in garbage time.
Death, taxes, and the 49ers owning the Cowboys.
How about CeeDee Lamb with 17 targets?
It came all in trash time.
Oh, it did. It definitely did. But he ends up with 13 for 146 and 2.
Yeah. Feel bad for everybody who, like, turned off the game after, like, playing against CD, turned off the game in the fourth quarter like, oh, 49ers got him. CD, not worried about him. And then they wake up in the morning and see CD had 40 points. And you're like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, there's literally nothing else worth remotely looking at outside of CD, but that's crazy. For the 49ers, Jordan Mason killed me.
Again.
He re-injured himself, had only 18 yards, so I got 1.8 from him. And then Gorendo comes in and has 85 yards and a touchdown. Beautiful.
Looks very good when he's on the field.
He's very, very fast.
Very fast.
Very, very fast. Just like the Combine said he was. He is very, very fast.
How about Brock Purdy rushing for more yards than Dallas?
That is beautiful.
I think love to see it.
This is not exactly a one-off either. Like, Brock Purdy has been running more this year than he has in the past. And, like, they played the Chiefs, and he had 2 rushing touchdowns and kind of salvaged, from a fantasy perspective, a terrible passing game. I'm thinking that Brock Purdy has now gotten to the point where you're not going to have, unless he goes and has like a 3-pick game, which is always, I mean, we've seen it, but he's getting to the point where he's pretty much a locked-in top, 8-9 fantasy play every single week, and you don't have to worry as much about the bottoming out kind of games as you have in the past.
Yeah, no, he's a QB1. Like, I would say he's a top 12 quarterback. He's a QB1.
Like, I traded for him in log.
He's saved
And-
your season, honestly.
Yes, like I had the thought yesterday for that team, like Brock Purdy was not who I wanted to be starting as my quarterback 2 at the beginning of the year. And yet I'm not worried about that spot at all whatsoever. Like Brock Purdy is going to give me 15 to 30 points every single week, and it's fine. Like that is just fine. I wanted it to be Anthony Richardson. I wanted those ceiling weeks, but it's still just fine.
If we're being completely honest, he's your quarterback 1. Like Patrick Mahomes is your other. That's a great
Yes.
quarterback room. Of Patrick Mahomes, Anthony Richardson, and Brock Purdy is your quarterback 1.
Yes, 100%. Maybe I have 2 of the biggest disappointments at quarterback in fantasy this year, and it's okay because I got Brock Purdy.
Man,
That's a wild thing to say. How about George Kittle with 6 for 128 and a touchdown?
yeah, I retract my statement. There are 4 tight end 1s basically. There's George Kittle, Trey McBride, Travis Kelce, and Brock Bowers, in whatever order you like.
Kittle probably won't have the same target numbers that the other ones have, but I think he's probably got the highest ceiling of any tight end right now. I don't know how you feel about
I would
that.
agree with that.
Well, we've always known this, but it's just been a crowded team. But you don't have McCaffrey. You don't have Brandon Ayuk. Once McCaffrey comes back, maybe the touchdown upside goes down just a bit. But, this is what we've always wanted from George Kittle.
Yeah. No Brandon Ayuk the rest of the year. I don't see any reason why it's going to slow down. Debo doesn't wow you, but he still has a fine game. The offense is going to run through Debo.
And he had a touchdown called back.
It's going to run through Debo and Kittle.
And they're going to be just fine doing it. Anything else before we wrap this thing up?
No, I'm deciding if I'm going to watch this Monday night game between the Steelers and the Giants. It seems very boring, but
Has Malik Neighbors beaten me yet?
not yet. I also I need George Pickens to have a good game, which he is not yet.
I just want to say Najee Harris has 3 carries for 25 yards. He is doing it again, folks. We're going
Russell
to
Wilson.
this is going to go out on a Tuesday morning, and we're going to have another 100-yard Najee Harris game. We're going to be like throwing our hands up like, why is Najee Harris doing it to us?
George Pickens had a touchdown called back. Dang it.
Oh, my.
I need that to happen because I need Alex to win.
Well,
Dude, Russ is absolutely the guy for this offense. Say
He's
what you
great.
will, he fits it. He fits it.
he's great. It makes my Seattle Seahawk heart just a little bit happy because he got ousted, and then the Broncos experience was terrifying. It's nice. It's good for Russ.
Yeah.
He's weird, but good for
He's a
Russ.
strange guy, but hey.
Did you watch the interview with him on Sunday night last week? They've started interviewing players before the game starts,
I did not.
and he's absolutely drenched in sweat
Before the game?
in pregame warmups. Yeah, before the game.
Russ, what are you doing?
And Chris Collinsworth's son is interviewing him, and he's asking him, like, what's the plan pregame? And he's like, got to go get in that headspace, got to go turn on the worship music, get
He
things
is.
rolling. It's like, this man's going to go listen to Hillsong United and just think about murdering people.
That's not the worst thing you could listen to, if I'm being honest, but
No. It's just
just
an
not what you
amazing
expect. You're
mental
like-
image.
okay, Russ. All right.
All right, man. Go do your thing.
Do what you got to do. Win
And
the
he
game.
did. Anyway, that will do it for this one. Ben and Landon will see you later this week with the Dynasty Dive. Have a good one, everybody.